I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Let me paint you a picture of what June 30th actually looked like on the ground. Some marches happened. Yes, people gathered in various parts of the country. It was being covered in SABC, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape. I mean, there were a few protests here and there. Some businesses in Belleville and Mitchell's Plain shut their doors preemptively out of fear. Some streets went quiet. Police were deployed in massive numbers. About 33,000 CCTV cameras in Gauteng alone. You had helicopters, you had drones, you had the full deployment that cost us over 600 million rand, redirected from other budgets. And the result? Protests, some harassment, the same low-level intimidation that's been happening for weeks already. No revolution, no mass departure, no grand reckoning. Because here's the thing that anyone paying even mid-attention already knew. You cannot deport 2.5 million people in a day. You cannot enforce immigration law through a social media post. You cannot fix a broken home affairs system by marching through the streets with a shambok and beating random foreigners up. None of that was ever going to happen. Not on June 30th, not on July 30th, not ever.
Fundo, a very good morning to you. Well, absolutely. I mean, these are the numbers that you're now seeing live in your visuals of just some of the people that have started to arrive here. In fact, the situation and how it's been arranged here in eThekwini, Fundo. Of course, we are going to be then marching down Durban's main street, which will be Pika Sema Street. And where we're coming to you now is the gathering point for Amabuto. These are the Zulu regiments, of course, who will be led by the leader of Insizwa Nobunsizwa, Nkosikhona Ndabandaba. As we know that we are here today because of the call that he made and said by the state that all undocumented foreign nationals must leave the country. And so indeed we are where it all started. We are waiting for his arrival, and further down the road from where we are, that is where we will find the march, and march will be led by Ngobese Zuma. She is further down the road with hundreds of other people that have gathered here. So from here we will leave then with the warriors, with Abadidieli, with the Zinduna, who are the headsmen, as we make our way down. You see the numbers of police officers that are in fact where we are just observing these marches, but I can say and tell our viewers that there has been no incident at all that has been reported from this morning, at least where we are. You'd be seeing in your visuals another important point to mention, Fundo, is that the Zulu regiments that we are seeing here are carrying with them traditional weapons. We know that the security forces had urged all those that are demonstrating to not carry weapons for these marches to be peaceful. There was a message that came from the Royal House, Prince Mtwana Vanana Zulu, who is a senior of the Amazulu Royal House, saying that these weapons that Amabut and the warriors that are carrying today, these shields that you are seeing in your visual, these are part of the Zulu regalia. And so the shields are actually meant as a symbol of protection and a symbol of peace, and they're not meant to be used to harm anyone. I think that's a very important point that we must stress and point out to our viewers that will be watching and seeing them carrying the weapons. Weapons that are not permitted here will be knives or spears or firearms. Those weapons are not permitted here, but you're also seeing the leaders of the regiments. Of course, there has been a commitment. They are here on the orders of King Misuzuluka Zelutini, who has sent out all the Zulu regiments and the leaders of the Zulu regiments to ensure that they come out in numbers and that they monitor these marches to ensure that there is law and order.
The whole premise was fantasy dressed up as activism. A fake government poster started it all. Someone decided to wake up in the morning and design an official Home Affairs looking notice with the actual government seal, which was fake, declared June 30th as a deadline for all undocumented foreigners to leave the country, posted it on X social media, and then watched it go viral. The government publicly dismissed it as fake. Respectfully, on the record, it doesn't matter. The date had already embedded itself in the national consciousness given the movement something it didn't have before, a deadline. Because people didn't take this March and March nonsense seriously until they got a deadline from a fake social media post. And then people were like, ooh, what's going to happen? And then on the day of the deadline, which was yesterday, the foreigners didn't leave. The white South Africans didn't leave. Life continued. The sun rose and it set exactly as it does every other day. I don't know why people were talking about this like Jesus was coming on June 30th. It was a regular day. In fact, people were just really pissed off that they couldn't go to work because of how overhyped June 30th was. And you want to know what's going to happen the next morning when South Africa wakes up? Every single structural problem that created the anger behind these marches will still be sitting there, completely intact, laughing at all of us as well.